My God, I hate drugs.
See a peaceful resolution of on this side, hopefully talk about investments and
해결됐으면 하는 바람이고 또 아시아의 한국
때문에 남북 관계는 훨씬 좋아질 것이고 모두가 원하는 방향으로 allowing us this privilege to visit.
Welcome to the newsroom on CNN Philippines. In the news, prices of school supplies remain stable in Divisoria 2 days before classes in public schools open. Guillermo Elazar is the new NCRPO chief. His first order of the day: intensify the war on drugs. And our soldiers trade arms and ammunition for plates and knives to embark on a gastronomic journey. Good evening, I'm Ida Rodriguez. Thanks for joining us. Thousands of shoppers for school needs make their last-minute trip to Divisoria. The good news, prices of school supplies remain relatively cheap and stable. The bad, it's going to be a struggle going in and out of the area. Our Makoy Popioko filed this report.
For 50 moms and dads, all roads lead to Divisoria 2 days before the opening of classes. And all throughout the afternoon, people have continuously arrived, making the alleys of Divisoria more crowded. And in the sea of busy shoppers, we spotted Venus Pigayo, who's shopping for her 5 nieces. Pigayo, who traveled from General Trias, Cavite, brought with her a budget of 1,500 pesos. And after almost 2 hours of going around looking for the best deals, she was able to buy everything she needs for over 1,200 pesos only.
Bali 1,151. May 150 pa. Ay, 350. Okay lang, masaya kasi may may natira pa eh.
Nung mga nagdaang araw po medyo matumal pa po, ngayon po mabenta na po, alas dumagsa po mga tao. Pinaghahandaan po namin yung pagdating ng tao, kaya kailangan po mas marami pong bantay para iwas na rin sa mga salisi.
Joan Marquez is one of the vendors here. She says there was a 1 peso hike in the prices of notebooks from that of last year. But the prices of other school supplies are stable. On average, notebooks and pad paper cost not more than 10 pesos. Ballpens start at 7 pesos each. White uniforms can be bought for as low as 100 pesos. Shorts and shirts are at 120 pesos per piece. Trade and industry officials warn customers to check the labels, manufacturers, and other details of the items they buy to ensure quality and safety. Undersecretary Ruth Castello said the agency is also closely monitoring the prices of commodities. Vendors here say tonight they're expecting to have thousands more customers, mostly who avoided the heat of the sun this morning. Shops are open until 10 in the evening and will open again tomorrow at 6 in the morning. For those who are planning to do their last-minute shopping, or bring lots of patience, because even before you reach Divisoria, the roads surrounding the shopping district are already congested at this time. Makoy Popioko, CNN Philippines.
How many students will be going back to school? According to projections by CNN Philippines Research, nearly 28 million students are enrolled this school year. This number covers all public and private schools, as well as state and local universities and colleges. Breaking down the numbers further, we're expecting nearly 3 million kindergarten enrollees and almost 14 million grade 1 to grade 6 students. From grade 7 to 10, projected enrollment is over 8 million, and from grade 11 to 12, nearly 3 million. Amid efforts to make sure Monday's school opening will be smooth and orderly, challenges remain, like limited classrooms and school resources. Tristan Nodalo tells us how the Education Department prepares to address these woes.
Lack of classrooms, late enrollees, and students who cannot find their classes. These are the usual scenarios every school year. The Education Department says they are aware of these annual school woes, but they are exerting efforts to minimize the impact.
Alam naman natin ang sitwasyon sa NCR, wala na talagang buildable space. Kahit gusto nating magtayo ng mga eskwelahan, wala tayong mapagtayuan. So, ang nangyayari, double shift yung ating mga klase at hinahati natin kung sino yung pang-umaga at kung sino yung panghapon.
Some public schools in Manila are even holding a 2-day dry run to anticipate the challenges that schools and teachers may encounter on the first day of the school year.
Marami ng mga eskwelahan ang gumagawa nito for one or two reasons, like to ensure that the opening of classes smooth and orderly, and to give orientation to teachers of their teaching load. Dito na din sineset up kung yung mga lugar kung saan dapat i-accommodate yung mga late enrollees.
For the meantime, DepEd also launches a Public Assistance Command Center in its central office in Pasig to assist those who may be having a difficult time processing their enrollment. All is set for Highway Hills Integrated School in Mandaluyong through the help of Brigada Eskwela.
We prepared already the school for the opening of classes. We cleaned already the classroom, ready for June 4. And then we have already posted the list of learners in every grade level and their classrooms. And parents with their children come here in the school to find out where are the rooms of their children.
Unlike other public schools, Highway Hills has enough number of classrooms for students and they can still accommodate more.
Meron po kaming ilalagay po dito na action desk sa harap. Since we are integrated, meron pong action desk for elementary, junior high school and senior high school. And they are all accommodated because our school is still accepting enrollees.
Incoming students also pay a visit to the school to check their classes and the things they still need to prepare.
Masaya po.
Bakit masaya?
Kasi po may bago na naman po ako matututunan.
Ano na yung mga niready nyo?
Mga bag po, notebook, tsaka mga pencil case, lapis, tsaka ballpen. Marami pa po.
While a parent brought her kid this early to familiarize her with the school facility and avoid separation anxiety on the child's big day.
Para po mapakita ko sa kanya yung big school, para po hindi na rin siya magulat sa pasukan. Tapos po yung section din po kasi nga. At the same time, excited naman po siya. Kanina pa po siya tanong sa akin kung, Mami, wala pa po ba akong pasok? Ganun po. Gustong-gusto niya na pumasok.
Tristan Udalo, CNN Philippines.
In other news, President Duterte is set to leave for Seoul, South Korea after midnight for a 3-day visit. The president targets a stronger partnership with South Korea, with 4 bilateral agreements expected to be signed. These include deals on scientific and technological cooperation, trade and economic cooperation, as well as a loan agreement on the new Cebu International Container Port project. The president will also meet South Korean leader Moon Jae-in to discuss the rehabilitation of Marawi City, following Korea's donation of $100,000 to the Philippine Red Cross. Foreign Affairs Secretary Alan Peter Cayetano says the country's relationship with China is going well. Cayetano even claims that some countries are taking cues at how the government is handling the situation diplomatically. But Cayetano says this does not mean that the Philippines is no longer asserting its sovereignty and rights over the South China Sea. He explains that the government is taking a comprehensive approach in foreign policy. Cayetano reiterates that diplomatic protests don't always have to be loud and noisy, contrary to what he deems critics of the president and China want the government to do.
Sinasabi nila, eto claim nila. Sinasabi naman natin, eto claim natin. In the meantime, may pumapasok ng mga foreign navy. In the meantime, yung ibang claimants may ginagawa rin. Okay. Tingin nyo, magbubunga yung usapan kung every time na may disagreement, magsisigawan. To be fair to China, it's not one way. You know, they've been also listening to us, and there has been big developments. That's why I'm saying yung ating sovereign rights, yung nasa arbitration award at yung nasa UNCLOS, pareho lang yun eh.
A quick check on the weather. We can expect the onset of the rainy season in the coming days. Pag-asa says it is monitoring 2 weather systems within Philippine territory. There is an intertropical convergence zone and a low-pressure area east of Mindanao. A tropical depression spotted along the West Philippine Sea has exited the country. There are scattered rains and thunderstorms, especially in the Visayas and Mindanao. Temperatures are expected to remain warm in Luzon, though we can expect occasional rains. Pag-asa is looking to declare the onset of the rainy season anytime from June 4 to the 14th. In lighter news, singer Janine Berdin is a trending topic not only in the Philippines but also worldwide. She was crowned the grand champion of the hit noontime contest Tawag ng Tanghalan. The 16-year-old edged out crooner Steven Paisu in the final round. Right now, there are about 96,000 tweets talking about Janine's victory. When the newsroom returns, Metro Manila's new top cop wastes no time in issuing his marching orders. And is it all's well that ends well? We come back. Chief Superintendent Guillermo Eleazar now leads the Metro Manila Police Office. He replaces Director Camilo Cascolan, who was removed from his post in a major shakeup in the PNP. What are Eleazar's plans to secure Metro Manila? And is he being groomed to become the next PNP chief? Our correspondent Rex Remitio has that report.
Outgoing Metro Manila Police Chief Camilo Cascolan has yet to formally turn over his command to his successor Guillermo Eleazar. But the Southern Tagalog Police Chief has already relinquished his duties to outgoing Cordillera Police Director Edwin Carranza.
Kung tutuusin, ito sana yung unit being regional director ang gusto kong pinakamatagal na aking paglilingkod sa aking bayan. Subalit lumalabas na sa lahat ng aking assignment, ito ang pinakamaikli. 42 days only.
Eleazar will now watch over the country's most developed, crowded and crime-ridden region. His first order of the day, intensify police campaigns against illegal drugs. This will be complemented by level-up counterintelligence and internal cleansing operations. When he was asked whether his war on drugs will be more violent than his predecessors, here's his answer.
Alam mo, hindi natin kagustuhan na merong masaktan o merong mamatay sa ating police operation. But ang police ay mag-react depende sa sitwasyon. Pag dumating sitwasyon na nagkaroon ng putukan at merong mga nag-resist, hindi pwedeng ang ating mga kapulisan naman hayaan nila sila madisgrasya.
He will also order a review of the illegal drug trading case of actress Krista Miller, who was acquitted and freed last week. Eleazar pursued her arrest when he was still Quezon City Police Chief in October 2016. He says they will exhaust all possible legal options as they have overwhelming evidence of her guilt.
Hindi namang ibig sabihin na dinismiss yung kaso or pinalaya siya. Ibig sabihin doon is hindi nangyari yung kaso, di ba?
The new Calabarzon Police Chief Carranza, meanwhile, will prioritize looking after criminal gangs in Laguna, Cavite, and Rizal.
I'm strict, but I can always be approached. I'm strict to those who will not be doing their job.
He will also deal with the communist group in the country's largest region in terms of land area and population. Both surprised with their new positions, Carranza and Eleazar are just among the 27 police officers who were part of the big-time reshuffling in the PNP leadership. Eleazar believes Cascolan's transfer to the PNP Civil Security Group is not a demotion. The NCRPO chief, a coveted position, is seen as a springboard for a police officer to become a PNP chief, but Eleazar says it's out of his control. Eleazar enjoys a close relationship with PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde, who was also the NCRPO chief before Cascolan. Rex Remitio, CNN, Philippines.
The reshuffling is part of the PNP chief's promise to bring to Camp Crame his stern style of leadership. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde earlier said he wanted to reorganize officials based on merit and not connections. The PNP also explains the shakeup is due to the retirement of some officers and based on the performance assessment of an oversight committee.
Ito yung naging result ng assessment and evaluation of the members of the Oversight Committee as announced by the Chief PNP during his assumption. We have determined na magkaroon ng reshuffling dito sa ngayon. Dahil sabi naman nila na para lang magkaroon ng well-rounded career pattern ng ating mga senior police officers.
Bulalakaw himself was reassigned. He will be the OIC of PNP Region 6 in Western Visayas. Replacing him as PNP spokesperson is Senior Superintendent Benigno Durana Jr. The PNP says another round of movements may happen soon, this time among provincial directors. The controversy over government contracts backed by Solicitor General Jose Calida's security agency has yet to die down, and now his office is defending itself after a Commission on Audit report showed that some of its officials, including Calida, supposedly received excessive honoraria and allowances in 2017, amounting to over 10.77 million pesos. Calida and 14 of his subordinates reportedly received allowances more than the allowed 50% of their annual salary. The COA says Calida received 7.46 million pesos. That's 8 times more than allowed. Aside from this, the COA says some OSG personnel had excessive claims on hotel accommodations and expenses for their local and foreign travels. But in a statement, the OSG says the COA report has no basis. It cites provisions authorizing its lawyers to receive allowances without limitation of the amount and number of agreements. The OSG also points out the provisions override a circular that the COA based its report on. Former Solicitor General Florin Hilbay agrees with the OSG that allowances for their lawyers can exceed 50% of their salaries. Hilbay claims a law that strengthens the office clearly allows honoraria and allowances from client departments, among others, adding that, quote, allowances will help the government retain good lawyers, unquote. After a meeting with a top North Korean official in the Oval Office, President Donald Trump says his June 12th summit with Kim Jong-un is back on. But as Brian Todd tells us, while Trump is praising the North Korean leader, he appears to be ignoring much of Kim's history.
Kim Jong-un is on a roll. One of his top lieutenants, a man believed to have a lot of South Korean blood on his hands and who led a major cyber attack on the U.S., met in the Oval Office today with President Trump and, in a remarkable moment, got a handshake from the president.
This is an amazing turnaround in events.
All the more amazing considering that less than 6 months ago, this violent, impulsive dictator was considered an international pariah.
At the end of 2017, Kim Jong-un was a leader who hadn't even met the president of China and was very reclusive, much like his grandfather and his father, and really lived up to the moniker leader of a hermit kingdom.
At that time, CNN was even told plans were being drawn up for a possible U.S. military strike. Then came Kim's New Year's Day speech, expressing his desire to soften relations with his enemies. The so-called Olympic thaw, with his sister Kim Yo-jong extending a warm hand to South Korean President Moon Jae-in. 2 meetings between Kim and Moon, including the optics of a groundbreaking summit, even holding hands, and the announcement of a planned summit with President Trump.
We'll be meeting on June 12th in Singapore. It went very well.
There were 2 meetings with Chinese President Xi Jinping, along with Secretary of State Mike Pompeo. And now the Russians want in, arranging their own meeting with Vladimir Putin. A crucial question tonight: what made Kim change?
The maximum pressure campaign. The sanctions regime against North Korea has taken a serious bite out of the regime. Kim Jong-un has been quite desperate.
Most important, he now has the weapons. He has the weapons and he has the delivery system, so he feels more confident.
Fueling Kim's confidence, the fact that the U.S., South Korea, and China have been willing to look past his egregious human rights violations.
We did not talk about human rights.
You're talking about 5 to 6 political prison camps, 120,000 men, women, and children held in political prison camps pursuant to a system of guilt by association, induced malnutrition, torture, public executions, secret executions. You're talking about a regime that's investing heavily in its tools of death.
A record that a veteran diplomat says Trump and his allies might have to look past to reach the ultimate objective.
If we are to lower the agenda to include denuclearization, human rights, And we'll have to include Japanese abductees will be another example. Biochem weapons, conventional weapons. It does get overcrowded.